Hello, welcome back to the channel. Okay, so we have seen the 3.1.9 patch notes, and I just happened to get some pictures here from the Indonesian Dislyte community. Some of our friends, they went to the PTR and they shared some pictures about Changchi's skill description in game, and also the two new legendary espers. And boy oh boy, something caught my eyes. So let's just take a look here. So here is Changchi's skill. So I won't go into much details, like you can just read this on your own time, and probably most likely some other YouTubers have already explained most of them. So let's just take a look at some things that caught my attention. So here, the first thing is that he is a support, remember that. So his damage, look at the first skill and the second skill, there is 20% attack, 60% defense, and 25% attack and 50% defense. And we already knew this because we saw his Divine Gate 4 in the 3.1.9 patch notes. And then at how the first skill works, this is good because the true damage is targeting the non-boss enemy with the highest max HP up to 100% of Changchi's defense. So that means if the enemy has Gaius together with Everett and you actually trying to attack the Gaius, that means Changchi will take into account Everett's maximum HP instead of Gaius, your actual target. So you can actually deal more damage to the enemy's paper DPS while they bring a tanky support. So you can actually punish the enemy for mix matching their espers. So that's one thing. It's really good. It's really good. And also the second thing is that the stun chance. The stun chance on his second skill is only 50%. So I thought that this guy can somehow like be a replacement to Pritzker. But apparently because the chance is too small, and the Abilimon will most likely only increase his AP reduction chance because of the number. It's 80% and 100%, whereas the AP reduction is 60%. So that's most likely where the Abilimon targets for. And also this happens when the enemy is not stunned. If the enemy is not stunned, then dispels one buff and reduce their AP. So if the enemy is actually get stunned, they don't get the dispel. So I don't know, like it's like a 50-50 chance. Like you cannot really target certain things to happen. Like if you actually want to dispel your enemy and you just happen to successfully stun them, you fail to dispel them. So it's a pros and cons, But the thing is that I thought he's gonna replace Pritzker because of the cooldown. The cooldown is only 3 turns if you have full Abilimon, but the chance is too small. Like Pritzker also have 50% chance, but the thing is that he do 3 hits, so he has a better chance to land his stun compared to only a single hit here. So yeah, but the good thing is that the damage of Changchi for the second skill scale up together with his speed, which is good. Like we already predicted this because like he is supposed to be an Esper that moves first in the team lineup. Like you generally want him to move really fast because you want him to swap your slowest Esper's AP with the enemy's fastest Esper that is currently in the AP bar, So you want to have your Changchi move fast, and you actually get a lot of benefit from that speed because of the second skill scale up together with the speed stats. And this is good because that means that you finally able to make use of all those defense bonus speed relic that has been gathering dust in your inventory. You can finally using them. So go with Windwalker and Stone Veins for him, and he is set. And the third skill, this is the important one. So yeah, looking at all his skills, he is not necessarily an apex killer like how everybody been thinking of using him. It's like it's similar to Intisar, but it's a little bit worse. The reason is because Intisar, like everybody think that Intisar is a Chronos killer, like the developer made her specifically for Chronos, but it's not necessarily true. Like if there is no elemental penalty, like you can just bring Intisar to kill Apep and Fafnir. It's not necessarily for Chronos, but just because of the elemental weakness, then you can only bring her for Chronos. And that's the reason, because her skill set is not limited just for Chronos. Compared to someone like Joser. Like Joser, his skill inflicts like permanent disease and it ignores the enemy's resistance. Like there is no other content that requires you that kind of mechanic except for Apep. But in Intisar's case, like you can generally use her for everything else. Like you can generally kill any other bosses in the game. So the thing is that Changji's skill set is like have broader use than just being in Apep. Although if in Apep's case, like his damage, because the first skill takes into account the maximum HP of non-boss enemy. So the minion in Apep, like the tower on the left and right side of Apep, might be considered the non-boss enemy. So you can actually use their HP to deal high damage to Apep. But that's it. Like the same thing with the Intisar explanation. Like if it's not because of the elemental weakness, you can just use that for any other cases. Like Sentinel can also be good, and any other bosses in the game can also be good, like in the Temporal Tower, Cube, etc, etc. So it's not necessarily he is only good for Apex, and you don't really get like much help bringing him to Apex either. So yeah, so let's get straight into the third skill. So the third skill, we've already seen this in the patch notes, like he raised his allies' HP to that of the highest percentage of the enemy's HP, meaning that if you have like enemy Gaia sitting at 100% HP, while your average sitting at 1% HP, even though your average has more total HP than Gaia's, like if your average has a total of 60,000 HP and your enemy Gaia's only sits at around 20,000 HP, you can still, like in a sense, heal your average for 60,000 health, because it goes from 1% to 100% following the 100% HP of Gaia's. So he can be the highest healer in the game, but the thing is that it is situational. Like you don't want to bring a Cliff Esper when you are using your Chang'e, because that just makes your entire enemy HP goes down together. Like you generally want to use single target Esper, so that to leave some Esper in the enemy lineup stay at full health so you can keep healing your allies. But still, like the skill has 5 turns cooldown or with Abilimon, so you cannot just spam it. So he is not really a healer either. But the thing is that because this thing is not regarded as damage if you get him at resonance, I think 2 or 6, I forgot. Like if he swap the HP, it's not considered attacking, or it's not considered healing. So you don't trigger the enemy's avatar, and you also ignore the enemy's your allies' disease. So that's the good thing. You can still heal your allies even though he gets a disease debuff. But we will see. Okay, the AP version is also the same. Like I've already mentioned this in the patch notes, that you can bring your entire teammates to move first if you can swap their AP with the enemy's Dahlia, but you require Divine Gate 6 for that. So yeah, for the Resonance Zero, you can just bring one allies, your slowest allies, to the same speed as the enemy's Dahlia. That's all. It's good situational, but yeah, again, same as HP, is situational. Like the first turn it happened, it will be really good, but afterwards it depends on the enemy's AP position and the enemy's HP percentage. So it's situational afterwards. It's just like when I first saw TA's skill, like TA able to absorb the enemy's HP and spread it among her teammates. But that is really good at the first turn where everybody is at high AP. On the next time it happens, like if it happens the next time where all the enemy espers already made their move and they are like sitting on the very low AP bar in the bar at the bottom, then your third skill will not do anything to them. Yeah, so we will go to something that caught my eyes. The damage, the third skill damage. 50% of Chang-Chi's defense, damage scales with the enemy's maximum HP up to 340%, and this can be increased by a Billimon to 400%. Like the moment I saw that number, oh my god. I took out my calculator and here is what I found. Imagine you have a donor. Donor deal 140% of his defense, and if you give him your usual donor relic, which is defense bonus, critical rate, and critical damage, he is able to deal 20,000 damage to his enemies. So that is 140%. So at 50% of Chang-Chi's defense, if you give that exact same relic, your donor relic, to Chang-Chi, that means he will deal 1/3 of that donor damage, which is around 7,000 damage. But the thing is that the potential, this number, the 400%, it's 8 times the 50% of his original damage. So if the sentence there, damage scales with the enemy's maximum HP up to 400%, is meaning it means 400% of his defense. That means that he can multiply his damage up to 8 times, which is 7,000 times 8 is 56,000 damage. He is gonna be the hardest hitting support in the game. What the hell? What? With the moment I saw that percentage, like there are certain several options here, like because it most likely means up to 400%. It refers to his defense, like up to 400% of his defense. There is also probability of it means something else, like it might mean of like 400% of his damage. So if his 50% Chang-Chi's defense is considered like 100% of his damage, like his full damage, that means he can go up to 400%, means that he can multiply his damage up to 4 times if that 400% is damage. And also if that 400% means HP, like the enemy's HP, that means that he can increase his damage up to the limit of if the enemy has 4 times more HP than Chang-Chi. But the thing is that it's still questionable. Like damage scales with the enemy's maximum HP, but how do you calculate that? Like for Renzi's case, if you see Renzi's skill, like if you see Renzi's passive skills, then each 1% defense gap, you might want to take a look at your Renzi. Each 1% defense gap, or I can just take off the pictures here. Yeah, here. Each 1% defense gap grants damage plus 1% up to 40%. This is the explanation in Renzi's. This is clear. This is clear enough. So you can actually calculate like the difference of defense between you and your target, and then you can increase your damage up to 40%. So that means if you have a difference of 40% defense against your enemies, that's where Renzi will deal the most damage. So you don't necessarily need him at very high defense, but enough defense, like 40% higher defense than his target, and then you can dump the rest of his stats to critical damage. But this thing doesn't have explanation on how it works. Like, does it work like 1% of HP difference between Chunky and his target raise the damage by 1%, just like Renzi? Or is it like a fixed number, like for every 100 HP your target has, it will increase his damage by 1% up to 400%? Or is it like every 200 HP, or maybe every 1000 HP it will increase your damage by 10%? We don't know. Like, I probably gonna need to ask the customer service later, either when Chang-Chi's get released, or maybe in between from now to until I get a response from the customer service. So yeah, it's still not clear. But the thing is that the potential is there. The potential is there. He can deal up to 400% of something. And that's something, if it refers to his defense, that means he can increase his damage by 8 times what he deals normally. And that alone, the potential alone, makes him a really strong Esper, because he is a support, like the hardest hitting support probably in the game. Like, we've already have Meredith, but now we have a better one now. So yeah, that's his skills. But the thing is that if you see all of his skills right now together with the number, he is kind of like balanced, you know. Like, I wouldn't say he is as OP as Intisar, but he is more like some kind like Fatum Sisters, in a sense that he is jack of all trades, but he is a master of none. Like, he can deal damage, but he doesn't deal as much damage as a fighter. He can somehow heal, but not as good as an actual healer. He can somehow control the enemy, but not as good as an actual controller. So there he is. Like, he has a very unique skill set, so his uses is kind of situational. You can generally bring him for everything, but he is not really something that is desirable. But he is gonna turn out really strong if you do invest your relic into him, because he has a very unique relic set. So, and that's also how I judge Espers. Like, how OP Esper is depends on how many things he can do at once. Like, for example, if we take a look at Ophelia or Lewis, they deal insane amount of damage. Good. But the thing is that as long as the game is still going on, they will keep releasing newer and newer Esper, and just being able to deal damage makes you susceptible to getting replaced by newer Esper, because that is the basic function of every fighter Espers, dealing damage, you know. So if your only trait is just to deal damage, like if your only function is to deal damage, in the future something will replace you. So when I judge how good an Esper is, like we take an example of Intisar. Like, you can find a lot of Espers that can deal attack down, that can inflict attack down to the enemies. You can find a lot of replacement for Esper that can inflict defense down to your targets. But if you want to find someone who is able to inflict attack down and defense down together, then there comes limited options for you. You have Gabriel, you have Hall, you have Intisar, and then it goes further. If you want someone who can give you attack up, attack down, and defense down, there's only Intisar. And then it goes even further, because Intisar can also inflict me straight up and also extend the enemy's debuffs. So all those buffs and debuffs combinations makes her irreplaceable, because there won't come any other Esper in the future with that combination of buffs and debuffs. You can try it. You can search. Like, I would recommend go to the playdislyte.com to check. Like, they have a very good sword sorting system. So you can play around with the buffs and debuffs options there, and you can find espers. Like the more requirements you put there, the less espers that are able to do those things. And that makes Intisar irreplaceable, because no one else will be able to do every single thing that she can do within a single esper. So yeah, here Chang'e can still be replaceable because his unique trait is very situational. So he can stun, he can dispel, he can reduce AP, he can disease. All those things are not as important as attack down, defense down, attack up, or defense up buffs, which generally you will use them in every single situation. So yeah, solid esper, very strong. But if you are a newer player, I would recommend for you to go for Intisar right now, while she still has her banner, because she will help you grind your relics. Whereas here, Chang'e, even though he can be really good with APEP, but it's better off if you are still a newer player, just stick with Chronos, because the relics that he drops can be used for every single esper in the game. But if you are a veteran player and you want to play around with Chang'e, because Chang'e will be very fun to use. seeing the enemy panics, or maybe like seeing you smile because you swap your HP with your enemies, or at the very least, like you can heal your tank back to full health just because you leave one of the enemy esper at full health. It's just something that makes the game fun. You know, you will just smile a lot whenever you use this Chang'e. I bet you will. So yeah, that's my take on Chang'e. So we also have the picture of the two new espers that are going to come out in the future. We have this divine support. So this is just like the Fatum sister and Intisar. So let's take a look. Yeah, the thing is that it is too obvious here who looks much stronger. So we have Ymir, Embla, and Pan, Ethan. So everybody, like I saw some some players in the forum and also in my Discord channel and everywhere, like a lot of players likes Embla more. It's obvious looking at their design. It's just like the same case with Fatum sister and Intisar. But the thing is that if one esper looks obviously more like better than the other one, it might makes you think otherwise. Like the other esper that is not so obvious, the underdog, might turn out really good. The same thing happens with Intisar and Fatum sisters. Like if everybody goes for Fatum sisters, Intisar, like the developer might give something unique to Intisar. So yeah, here also the same case. Like looking at the design, like Embla looks really strong. Like the design makes her looks like she is a masochist or something. So I wouldn't be surprised if her skills makes her like sacrifice something in order to deal more damage. Like she probably sacrifice HP, or maybe she sacrifice her defense, or make her more vulnerable to attacks or something, while deal a ton of damage. And the thing is that if the skill have a certain requirement to use, or the skill have a risk of to be able to use it, then it will give out even more damage. That's the thing. So she can turn out probably be a really good Inferno fighter. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, she is an Inferno fighter and Ethan is a flow support. So he can be a really strong Inferno fighter. And that's the thing. Like if she can turn out really good, that means if you have Lewis, then you will have an option to replace your Lewis. Just like how I decide on using Brewster instead of my Lewis once I got my Brewster, because Brewster brings more, even though Brewster deal less damage than Lewis, but I prefer utility over just damage. I don't aim for Esper that can one-shot things, because I don't need to one-shot things, because I prefer the long fight. Like one-shotting things is good, but if you fail to do that, the backlash is severe. But if you already aim for something to die within 2 turns, whether you deal 90% of their maximum HP in one shot, or you deal 60% of their maximum HP in one shot, they will die the next turn. So there's no difference. You either deal 100% of their maximum HP at once, or you can just go as low as 50% of their maximum HP and take 2 turns to kill the target. Yeah. So that's the difference. So Embla, back again. Embla might be a really strong Esper, but that's the thing. Like if something is obviously looks very strong, that means the other one might have something unique. So looking at the lore, Pan is the god-like creature that helps Hercules get his strength. So he is like a really good teacher kind of support. But the thing is that we already predicted Fatum Sister back then, because I knew when Abigail came out, like she has every single buffs that in existence except for invincibility and speed up. So we already predicted that back when we were voting for Fatum Sister and Invisar, and I was right. And the thing is that after Fatum Sister came out with invincibility and speed up, that means we've already have every single buff in the game except for the unique ones. So Ethan might come out with a really unique buffs. I'm looking forward to that. Like this is all 100% my own imagination. It's baseless, but this is just my prediction. But yeah, the only thing that is not yet within support Esper, like from our previous Espers, are things that protects teammates, like a self-sacrifice skill similar to Nicole or Luoyan. That's the only thing that is missing. So there might be a chance, a very small chance, that Ethan will be able to do that. I think so. So don't take my words for it. Like don't go next month, like when the expert actually came out, and then you say, hey, Vivi told me that Ethan gonna be OP, and she turns out doesn't have anything unique about that, and then you came to me and you lied to me. Hey, be warned, okay? Be warned. This is just for my case. So me personally, I will support Ethan, because I will never follow the meta. I will always go the other way when when everybody else obviously follows one thing. So if Embla turns out more popular for every other players, like for most players, then I will support Ethan, because there's a possibility that the developer will give something very strong to the underdog. And there's something interesting, it's the same as the previous Divine support. This is what has been sticking into my mind. So you can see the vote at the top of the screen there, 48% for Embla and 52% for Ethan. But the thing is that looking at how popular Embla is in the forum, in the chat, and in the Discord channel, like, why Ethan has more vote if everybody been saying Embla's name, when everybody been very loud with Ymir. So that's the thing. It's the same with Fatum Sister and Invisar. Like everybody been obviously liking the triplets more before they even came out. But the vote when the maintenance was finished, like at that point in time on the Divine support, the previous Divine support, I logged in like within 2 or 3 minutes after the maintenance finished, and I've already seen Intisar has had more vote than Fatum Sister, which is weird. Like, is it possible that all the Intisar supporter all log in earlier and just straight away give her vote? But that's like quite unlikely, because you need to do something in this defined support to get that items for you to be able to vote. So I thought, like, this is something that I thought, like, there might be like the developer messing with the number here, like the developer might be joining the voting system, so they have their own preference. And based on the previous defined support experience that we had, it was really like on the previous defined support, like, it might happen that the developer prefer Intisar more compared to Fatum Sisters because they already knew how their skill works, and then that's why they had more votes on Intisar. But because the players can only judge pets based on appearance, so after a while, Fatum Sister got like a lot more votes than Intisar in the end. It's not actually in the end. Like, after a couple of hours, even after just a couple of hours after the maintenance finish, like when the patch hits, Fatum Sister already got more vote than Intisar. Yeah, so the same thing might happen here. Like, I'm looking forward to that surprise when Ethan actually showed up with her skill. But the thing is that it's different. There is something different from this defined support from the previous one. The previous one, I knew straight away that Intisar gonna turn out really, really OP based on her design. Yeah, but this here in this current defined support, I'm also actually think that Embla gonna turn out really, really strong. So that's the difference. So the difference is that in the previous defined support, I suspect there's some place like the developer preferential treatment towards Intisar, but I also feel that there's like strength within Intisar herself. But here, I feel more towards Embla, like the strength goes more there. That's just my that's just my feeling as a gamer. Embla will probably turn out really, really strong, but I'm looking forward to that surprise effect when Ethan actually get released later. So yeah, let me know in the comment section which do you think you're gonna vote for, and why do you think that is, like your reasoning for that. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.